Well, I don't know about that. Why are we even having a conversation about this? Because it matters. It matters. In today's conversation, I really want to talk to people about how to get a large personal loan from a big national bank with fair or poor credit. I'm going to debunk all the myths around that topic. So if this is something that you want to hear more about, I want you to stick around till the end of today's conversation. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's convo, I want to talk to you about how to get approved for a large personal loan from a big national bank with fair or poor credit. You might be thinking, this is not possible. Well, guess what? It is possible. The first thing you need to do is to start with your current bank. I want you to start with the Citibank, the Wells Fargo, the Chase, the US Bank, the PNC, whatever you are at. I want you to start there. You want to open accounts at a big national bank. And when I'm speaking about opening accounts, I'm talking to you about opening asset accounts. You want to open a savings account and a checking account at least. You got to have at least 2 accounts, okay? And if you have a little bit of money sitting around, I want you to open an investment account, a brokerage account. But if you don't have the cash to do that right now, please go ahead and open a savings and a checking account. So when we speak about checking accounts, this can be a current account, a regular account, or a premium checking account. When we speak about savings account, you can open a normal savings account, or you can open a certificate of deposit. You can open a money market account, whatever account that allows you to park your moolah there for a while, go ahead and open it. So you want to do this for 2 banks. You never know. Don't put all your eggs in the same basket. Don't try to have only 2 accounts at the same institution, because if you're looking for a large personal loan, you want to actually spread your risk, okay? So open an account with Chase and Citibank, for example. You want to set up direct deposit. If possible. If you're paid electronically, I want you to set up a direct deposit. You can set up the direct deposit in those 2 institutions. You know, like a lot of companies allow you to split your cash, your payroll, your pay, right? So you can say 20% will go to the savings account and 80% will go to a checking account. I want you to have 2 different banks. And the cool thing here is that once you have that, the bank will see that you work, that you make money, and that you are also saving. Think about that. That's a great trifecta. So you are projecting an air of responsibility, an air of financial stability. This is the first step that is so important. So once you start doing this, I want you to go visit a local branch, sit down with the rep, and start building a relationship. Don't just sit around on your couch and do everything electronically. Loans don't happen electronically. I'm telling you this, you got to go to a branch and sit with someone so they can see you, they can see the person behind the name. And so when it comes time to approving your loan, even if you have a poor or fair credit, they will still qualify you. Step number 2, you want to know the bank's loan typology. What is that? It just means you need to have an idea of the loan options that are available to you at whatever bank you currently have accounts at, okay? Let me give you an example. I want you to look on the screen right now. We have taken loan options available at US Bank. So this is the loan typology at US Bank right now. If your goal is to get a large personal loan from a big national bank with fair or poor credit, you need to do 2 things. First of all, you need to identify the possibilities of loans that the bank has and the low-hanging fruit. Which loan is a lot easier to qualify for? Because not all loans are created equal. And if you have a FICO in the 500 or 600, you better be very strategic about what kind of loan you're going after. Let's look at US Bank, for instance. US Bank has a US Bank personal loan where you can borrow up to $25,000. No, you can borrow from $1,000 to $50,000. This loan is unsecured. You have the U.S. Bank Home Improvement Personal Loan, where you can borrow up to 25 grand. You have the U.S. Bank Simple Loan, where if you need quick funds for an emergency, you can actually borrow up to $1,000 for planned and unplanned expenses. You have line of credit options, okay? And line of credits are a little different because you have the cash that is available to you and you can tap into it whenever you need it. So for U.S. Bank, you have U.S. Bank Personal Line of Credit. You have U.S. Bank Home Improvement Personal Line of Credit. And then you have the U.S. Bank Reserve Line of Credit. You see what I was telling you? If you hadn't done the analysis, you wouldn't have never known that U.S. Bank has such a constellation of loans, which is why I keep telling you got to do the research. Simply because you have a poor FICO doesn't mean that you cannot get a loan approved from a big national bank. It's just that you need to be strategic. You need to be thorough. Okay, so when you go to the bank's typology, this is why I was telling you, you got to sit with someone, you got to give them a call. Don't do everything online because banks don't put all the policies online. No, they don't publish all their loans policies. But when you talk to someone, when you tell them about your personal situation and what kind of loan you're looking for, they might guide you. They might steer you in the right directions. And this is the kind of strategic analysis you got to start thinking about. Okay, so step number one, you want to start with your current bank, the big bank that you have. Try to have two banks. And step number two, you want to know the bank's loan typology. If you decide to borrow from a U.S. Bank or from PNC or from Citibank or Bank of America, you want to study the types of loans they offer. 3, I want you to know the bank's loan policies. What is that? Well, if you have no idea, I want you to go to a branch right now. You want to sit with, the cool thing about big national banks is that those banks cover the whole United States, right? So they have branches in nearly every state. So you don't have to actually do everything online. You can actually drive or just go to the nearest branch and sit with someone. So when we speak about loan policies, there are 5 different things that are included in that term: credit score and history, your income, your debt to income ratio, the collateral if applicable, and the origination fee. Let's first talk about the credit score and history. So basically, the big bank you currently have account at, they might ask you, they might say, listen, we want to have an applicant with a minimum FICO score of 650. Well, that's not good for you, right? Because you're probably sitting right now at 500, 525. So what do? Well, the strategy here is that you need to establish something called an MPR. We have covered this on other shows. MPR, multi-product relationship. It means that you have actually opened a savings account, a checking account, and you have actually brought a lot of your moolah, a lot of your cash to the bank. So the bank sees that, this person has a skinny FICO, but guess what? He or she has a fat checking account. So that's pretty good. So those two elements counterbalance each other. So credit score and history, that's number 1. Number 2, every lender has income thresholds. They might ask you, we want applicants to have a $2,000 gross income every month. Do you meet those criteria? So you will never know if you don't ask, which is why you need to ask about the bank's loan policies. Number 3, DTI, debt to income ratio. This is basically banks want you to be around 36% or less. And DTI means that you are basically dividing your debts, the amount of money you spend every month to repay your debt over your gross income. So that's the cash you take to service your debt. So for instance, if you're making $10,000 a month and you are spending $3,000 to repay your debt, that's 30% in terms of DTI. Banks like people to have a DTI of 35% or less. Collateral. Does your bank want to have collateral? You never know. You gotta ask. And does the loan entail an origination fee? This is another conversation you need to have with the bank, with the loan rep. Now you need to know the required paperwork. Okay, So if your goal is to get a large personal loan from a big national bank with poor or fair credit, after actually opening accounts, after knowing the bank's loan typology, after knowing the bank's loan policy, now you want to know the required paperwork. What is the kind of paperwork they need from you? First of all, the loan application. If you're lucky, some banks have the loan application online. You can go through the process. We've done a lot of this on this show. So you'll see what kind of information they're asking. Usually, they ask for things like your address. So they ask questions about your geography, your biography. So your name, first name, last name, date of birth, your social. They want to have more information about your income, your liquidity, right? So they also ask questions. So to substantiate your income, for instance, they will ask for pay stubs, your tax returns, your last 3 monthly bank statements. They might ask for W-2s and 1099s, your employer contact information in case they want to verify employability. Okay. They might also, in terms of a proof of identity, they might ask for your driver's license, other state issued ID, your passport, your certificate of citizenship, your birth certificate, your military ID. Remember, some banks will allow you to qualify for a loan even if you're not a citizen. So basically, if you have an ITIN, an individual tax identification number, you can qualify for a loan. Isn't that wonderful? That's just fantastic, right? Now, they might ask you also for a proof of address. So in addition to confirming your employment, most lenders, including big banks, want to know that you have a stable living situation. So this may involve providing proof of your address, including a recent utility bill, a copy of your lease or other rental agreement, voter registration card or proof of home, rental or auto insurance that lists your address. So this is basically part of the bevy of documents that the bank wants to know. But again, you need to know that required paperwork in advance so that you are strategically getting yourself ready for approval. Okay. And in terms of the loan application itself, I was talking to you earlier about geography, liquidity, biography. Okay. But our recommendation on this show, after reviewing hundreds of loans, we always say, if possible, you want to contact the bank. You want to go to the bank. You want to go to the bank physically, have a conversation with a live person, either over the phone or in live, so that you have more information before applying. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We are still having a passionate conversation about how to get a large personal loan from a big national bank with poor or fair credit. I love this topic. The fifth step, you need to prepare the loan application. The cool thing here is that you can apply online, you can apply over the phone, you can apply in your regular mail. If you receive let's say you receive a mailing offer, a pre-qualification in the mail, that's pretty good, right? So you can actually just fill out the form and just send it back to the bank and they'll just process it. You can also apply at the branch, which is our recommendation if possible. It's just a lot better to actually take 30 minutes out of your time or 2 hours out of your time, whatever it takes to get the application done. Now, there are a few things you need to do before preparing the loan application. Please check your credit score. I know the premise of today's conversation is that we are assuming that, hey, listen, you have poor or fair credit, right? But guess what? What if your credit score were not that low? What if you've been thinking for the last 24 months that, hey, listen, I'm currently sitting at 525 or I'm sitting at 565. But guess what? If you just were to look into your credit score, you'll probably realize, oh, wow, there are a few derogatory items that are wrong. There are a few inaccuracies here. And if I can fix this, my credit score will shoot up to 675. Guess what? You better do that, because that will save you a lot of cash in terms of APR, in terms of lower APR and other stuff. I'm not even going to the nitty gritty of how many percentage points you can save on APR when your credit score goes up. Everybody knows that. It's pure logic. So you want to take steps to clean your credit report. The good thing is you don't have to pay for anything. There is a website called creditreport.com that allows you once a year to actually get your credit history for free on all three credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You want to take steps to improve your score by checking for inaccuracies and paying down debt. Decide how much you want to borrow. You want to use the lender pre-qualification to shop around for competitive rates. Okay, so once you've done that, you can submit a formal loan application. The gist of this section is to actually decide how much you want to borrow and how much you can afford to borrow. See, my friend, the thing is, if you want to borrow, let's say $30,000, the requirements are not the same as if you were to borrow $5,000 or $10,000. The risk, from a lender's perspective, the risk goes up the higher the amount. That's just pure logic, right? So if you have poor or fair credit, you want to actually strike the right balance between your needs as a borrower and the risk mitigation needs of the lender. That way you can just choose a loan amount that is not too high, not too low, so that both parties are satisfied. Let's now talk about increasing your chances of approval. That's the sixth step. I'm still talking to you about how to get a personal loan from a big national bank with poor or fair credit. Step number 6, you need to increase your chances of approval. How to do that? Well, I have a couple of hacks that you can use. The first thing you need to do is, if you have a FICO, say, if your FICO is currently sitting at 525, right? I don't know, I love that number, but let's just say you are probably around 500, and you're just thinking about, how can I get this loan from Citibank? Well, Citibank right now is not offering personal loans, but let's say you want to get a loan from PNC or US Bank. How can I increase my chances? First thing you can do is to beef up your application. How do you do that? You can add a co-signer or co-borrower. That's kind of cool, right? If someone in your family, your spouse, your partner, or your a relative has a higher credit score than you, well, guess what? This could be a great opportunity to invite that person, kind of help you beef up your application, so you can increase your chances of approval. Another thing is, you might want to explore a secure loan, because with a secure loan you are improving your chances of approval, because you are pledging collateral anyway. You're taking your own money and you just put in there and sell your own money or your own assets, your own property, and just put it there. So this is a great opportunity. Also, you can also try another type of secure loan that's called a credit builder loan. Obviously, a credit builder loan is not an option if you're looking for a large amount and you want the amount right away, or so if you want to just get a small amount, let's say $5,000 maximum, then a credit builder loan could be a great possibility. But if not, guess what? You can't go the credit builder loan. One thing I want to say, which is not a part of this show, but I just thought about it. You can also try to get a loan from a credit union. It's relatively a lot easier, because credit unions are not profit concerns. They're not profit entities. They're not profit-oriented entities, even though they are managed as such. So your chances of being approved for a loan could be higher. Obviously, the title of this video is how to get a personal loan from a big national bank. So we're not discussing getting a loan from a credit union such as an FCU or a PenFed. Okay, but I just want to throw it in there. And also considering pledging collateral to increase your chances of being approved for a big loan from a big national bank. Last but not the least, part of your strategy, you need to have a backup plan. Do you have a backup plan? Talk to me. What should you do if you are ever denied? Because listen, nothing is always rosy in life. Things happen. You can have the right strategy, you can have the right plan, but things happen. You go on D-Day, things don't work out the way you thought of, you imagined them. What should you do? Well, a lender, including your big bank, can deny your personal loan application for a number of reasons. Your credit score may be too low, or your DTI could be too high. It's also possible that you have asked to borrow more money than the bank thinks you can repay based on factors such as income employment stability and other outstanding debt. That's what I was telling you earlier. You might want to think about reducing the loan amount you were originally thinking about applying for, right? So if a lender such as Citibank or PNC or US Bank or Wells Fargo or Chase denies your personal loan application, there are a few steps you can take to improve your chances of getting a loan in the future. But before I get into those reasons, I'm only telling you this because having a backup plan will take the stress off of your back. If you know you have a plan, if you have plan B already, guess what? You're going into the game more confident because you know if plan A doesn't pan out, you have plan B, right? So here are the things you can take, the things you can do in the future to improve your chances of getting a loan. You want to ask for the specific reason your application was rejected. You want to review your loan application for mistakes or inaccuracies. Now, those two, right off the bat, those two reasons. If you have done everything through a rep at a branch, those two mistakes would have been taken care of because the loan rep would have spotted those mistakes and corrected them during the application process or before you submit your application. This is why you have to do things at the branch. Another thing you can do to improve your chances of getting a loan in the future is to improve your credit score by paying down your current outstanding debt. You want to check for mistakes on your credit report. You want to look into maybe getting a side gig to increase your income, maybe get a second job. You may also want to compare lender requirements so that if currently you are with a bank that does not seem amenable to your request, guess what? Competition is fair game. You might go to another bank. You can also apply for a smaller loan amount. And if you apply without a cosigner, you get rejected. Please consider using a cosigner in the future. This is it, folks, for today's conversation. I was talking to you about how to get a large personal loan from a big national bank with poor or fair credit. There are a few steps. Step number 1, you want to start with your current bank. Number 2, you want to know the bank's loan typology. 3, you want to know the bank's loan policies. Number 4, you want to know the required paperwork. Number 5, you want to prepare the loan application. Number 6, you want to increase your approval chances. There are a couple of things you can do. And last but not the least, you want to have a backup plan. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.